So our feature film this week is from 1986. So a bit of our favourite genre here, 80s horror. It's The Hitcher, directed by Robert Harmon. It was his debut feature. And if you look at his IMDb page, it's filled from around about 2004 up until 2000.
With Tom Selleck.
With Tom Selleck, yeah. Did you see that as well? Did you have a quick look?
A lot of Tom Selleck.
Yeah, he's playing some character. I don't know what his character's name is, but it's meant to be some sort of action
Max
hero.
Power.
Maybe something to that effect. So, as with the previous episode, I give it a little bit of
Max. Yeah.
I give a little bit of trivia. So, did you know who was originally meant to be cast for the role that Rutger Hauer?
Mike Tyson.
No, it was Sam Elliott, the old mustachioed
really?
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, Jurassic Park, In the Mouth of Madness. Sam Elliott.
No. Sam Elliott's the guy with the big. He's in Big Lebowski.
Oh, who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of, I forget his name now, but yeah.
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill, that's it. Yeah. So Sam Elliott with his big old
with
hash.
a big stash.
But he couldn't because of other engagements, other contractual arrangements.
He was too busy doing a different film.
Yes, essentially. Also, with the scriptwriter originally, in terms of the villain, what he had in mind for John Ryder was originally inspired by a David Bowie Sting type skeletal kind of look. And he would have talked with a voice box, those old-fashioned sort of voice box things.
Luke, I am your father.
Yeah. Also, do you know whose favourite film is for one particular famous filmmaker?
What genre?
No, particular filmmaker. It's
filmmaker of what genre in particular? Is he like a famous horror director or a big blockbuster one?
Big blockbuster.
James Cameron?
Close. Christopher Nolan. One of his favourite films is The Hitcher.
Well, there are some very Nolan-esque shots in the film.
That is very true.
Pre-Nolan.
Also, whilst Roger Ebert, on the other hand, gave it 0 stars.
Well, he bloody would do, doesn't he?
Yeah. Do you know the director of photography, John Seale, which is obviously...
I don't know him personally, no.
No, but we've got to say, the standout thing, the thing that really carries the whole film is how great the cinematography is. Unsurprisingly, John Seale went on to be the director of photography on Mad Max Fury Road.
I'm not surprised.
No.
It's got amazing. Very similar cinematography.
Yeah, especially the chase scenes as well. They've got that.
There's a scene in it where John Ryder.
Yeah, John Ryder
gets thrown out of the car and he's standing up, and it's kind of like shot just like like a shot from Fury Road, really. There's a few shots that are like it where Max is standing up, so I can kind of see.
Yeah. I mean,
I can see comparisons.
I mean, even within the first sort of not so much the opening credit scene where he's driving the car, but
very dark. I thought.
Yeah, very dark initially. Dark. But up until obviously after about that point, the point at which he sort of picks up Rutger Hauer, from that point onwards, it's amazing. So bang, bang, bang.
It's a masterclass in photography.
It is a masterclass, indeed.
For lack of a better term.
So the thing is with the film, it jumps straight into the action. So there's no kind of prelude to how the guy got onto the road and acquiring the car and everything. But it turns out we find out that the car he's delivering, isn't it? So yeah, it's not like certain certain horror films that are kind of like road movies that are also horror movies as well. Kind of like to the not so great ones, in other words, like to kind of do a bit of a build up as to the characters maybe packing up the car and all this kind of stuff. But no, not with this film. It jumps straight into the action, which is good. In terms of where the Hitcher crops in, virtually right at the beginning. He's not driving around for that long until he picks him up.
He hitches into this film pretty quickly.
He does. Yes. He does. It's also, if you look up immediate regret in the dictionary,
there's a picture of our faces.
No, there's a picture of the guy's face who picked Rutger Hauer up, who picked up John Ryder.
Oh, what's his real name?
We're gonna do one of these again. Now it's gonna.
Yeah, he was in Spiderman, and he was actually in. I think he was in The Dark Knight actually.
Oh, okay.
What's he called?
You're gonna.
I'm gonna.
Oh, you're doing all these things again, are you? Okay.
Yeah, I do it all the time because I'm really bad at remembering names. It is C. Thomas Howell.
And he plays the central...
He is Jim Halsey, who is the victim, I suppose you could call him throughout the film.
Wow, he's aged.
Yeah. But he was in The Amazing Spider-Man, and I do think he was...
He was in E.T. as well, which
E.T.
is another important...
I do think he was in one of the... I'm sure he's in one of the Nolan Batman films.
He's aged he's aged a fair bit just because of his choice.
It's a long time ago, though.
Yeah. I think it's just because of his choice of...
He's like rocking the grey hair, you know. He was in Blue Bloods, Sons of Anarchy. There's been a lot of films. Not as prolific as Jennifer Jason Leigh, though.
No, and other people have said, which I kind of almost agree with, that Jennifer Jason Leigh's acting in this wasn't amazing.
Wasn't up to her normal standards.
No, you'd have never have thought that she would later go on to be an important part of Hateful Eight, for example.
They made a bit of a big deal about her being in the Hateful Eight, though, didn't they?
No, but she did do an outstanding performance in that. No, Gary's doing.
He wasn't in a Christopher Nolan film. It was Amazing Spider-Man 2 he was in.
Oh, right, which wasn't a great, but he was an E.T. So that's
he was an E.T. He's
done
a lot of work. I've seen him, and he's one of them. Oh, it's that guy.
Yeah, so he's spanned a lot of decades in his acting career.
A lot of decades.
I don't know what that even means. Kids, if you know on Urban Dictionary what spanning decades means, then please tell me.
Well, you know. So, what else to say about the Hitcher?
Overall, some podcasters, in terms of film discussion, like to actually break down every single bit from beginning to end.
But not us.
But not us, no. The one thing that we always do talk about, though, is our favourite scene and why. Gary, did you have a particular favourite
Spoilers allowed?
Yeah, the whole purpose of this is spoilers, because we're...
I like the bit where they rip Jennifer Jason Leigh into... No, I'm only joking.
But in today's horror thing, they would probably show that.
They would have shown it.
They didn't.
They didn't show it. They implied it. Probably, it's hard to pinpoint my favourite part, because my favourite part would be the cinematography of the film in general.
But you must have been watching it knowing that I was eventually going to ask you this question.
I did, and I was thinking, and the only thing that kept sticking in my head was the bit where Rutger Hauer stands up. Just because of how well shot it was. But if I was to pick an actual part, it probably would be where Rutger Hauer first gets into the car and he's toying with our victim.
Yeah, that is a good. What also makes that more kind of eerie is the fact that there's this, for lack of a better description, but very kind of weird homoerotic kind of energy that he's putting
He's
across.
got his hand on his crotch, yeah.
But not just that, but also like when he licks the pennies and he puts them on his eyes. Everything is done with such weird kind of delicacy when he's interacting with him.
It turned you on, didn't it?
A fair deal. I'd buy that for $1. No.
Was it a semi-on or...
Well, you should know. We were both sat naked.
We're never going to be able to use this.
No. But I watched... it was really disgusting, actually. There was a
picture of me I sent you?
No, there was a documentary on boy bands. I think it was like on ITV years ago. And it was about like Take That. And apparently they would go into their tour bus and watch porn together. But just like jack off watching it together. There was no like... They had no qualms.
Well, we're in a band together and that's never going to happen.
No.
So I apologise in advance, Medwin, but no.
Well, I'm glad you vetoed that so sternly.
There's nothing stranger than folk, is there?
No. My favourite scene was the bit where he pushes the jail cell door and that he wanders around the police station.
Oh, yeah, that was quite cool.
That was really cool because the thing is, he was sort of like... He was having this horrible nightmare, and he was then reassured by the fact that it was all over because he was in a police cell. There's no way that anyone could like get to him, and he's just sort of resting or putting a little bit of pressure against the cell door. And then all of a sudden, he realizes that it's open, and he can't come over. And he's sort of walking through slowly. You can hear the phone ringing, and the brutality of like the bloodshed within that police station as well. It was just really good, especially as I had not seen the film before.
Oh yeah, you'd never seen it before.
No.
I have watched it, but I watched it so long ago. I watched it on VHS.
Oh, wow.
So I had never realised quite how good the cinematography was in the film, because obviously when you're watching on VHS, you're watching it in 4:3 ratio, which is not the original.
And you didn't have the cinematic lexicon that you do, or understanding, or whatever.
There is that as well. I was bowled over by how good the cinematography was in this film. No, I don't think I've ever been as bowled over by cinematography in a 1980s horror film as much as I was in this.
No. And
even Evil Dead 2, which has some amazing cinematography, but not as good as The Hitcher.
But because also as well, what's amazing about it is the fact that it's objectively beautiful and amazing. Like I watched a film that relies heavily on its cinematography. Have you ever seen the film Manhunter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Michael Mann, isn't it?
Yeah,
which is Hannibal Lecter.
Yes, exactly. Would you follow that story? That one is very deliberate because it has this like over-the-top color palette whereby there's a lot of blues in it and a lot of like reds, alternating between the two, which either ages the film or you can sort of make your own conclusions about it. But with this, it was just something that even by today's standards, it was amazing.
Kind of like if you look back at, not necessarily in horror, but science fiction, it's happened quite a bit. Like I'm smacking my knees here.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch the original Alien film, the cinematography in that and the way it's shot, the way it's lit, everything about it is amazing on a cinematic level.
Yeah.
Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner, amazing piece of cinema.
Yeah.
So it does happen. I've just never known it to happen to this extent for me in horror, and for it to be a film that isn't as, what's the word? Isn't as celebrated.
No, that's a good phrase.
As much as you'd expect.
And what's also amazing about it as well is that you mentioned reference there, Blade Runner. Not only obviously
Rutger Hauer again.
Is the cinematography great with that, but it also benefits from the fact that it's got amazing set design.
Yeah.
Whilst this one didn't have that luxury, because it's just all shot in the desert, very basic motel scenes, and stuff but it still achieves this brilliance without any specific set design.
I mean, obviously, like I said, when I first watched it, it was on VHS. Now I'm watching it the full frames that it's supposed to be watched in.
Yeah.
And in HD.
Yeah. Which would have been even better than the cinema release at the time of.
I have noticed a lot of films I've not seen since VHS that I say, oh, I love that film, but I've not watched since VHS, and then I've managed to get hold of them again, remastered on Blu-ray.
Oh, but you want to hear some sad news though?
Let me finish. And then
sure, yeah.
So every time I get hold of one of these old films remastered and on Blu-ray, and I put it on and I watch it, I'm like, I don't remember this being this good. Even something as bad as like Street Trash, we watched that on Blu-ray and we were just like, it looked like it was filmed yesterday. It was amazing what happened.
That's our first episode, by the way.
So what's sad?
It's sad that HBO, because this was a film made by HBO.
Yeah, HBO.
They are very restrictive in terms of Blu-ray releases. So this film doesn't have a Blu-ray release, and it probably won't ever have a Blu-ray release.
I watched a proper HD version of it though.
We saw an HD version that was probably a DVD or VOD. Was it VOD?
I think it was one of the VODs. I've not got it on Blu-ray.
No.
But have you ever? Well, you've not even seen the original.
But they say that it's a shame with someone like Scream Factory would be great as a distributor of it, that they would have a contract with them.
Do HBO just don't like to release this stuff?
There's a whole sort of thing about they just don't like.
Awkward.
They're just being just something awkward about the way they don't like to do that.
You won't have, but there was a Hitcher too.
Oh, okay.
It's terrible. It's got C. Thomas Howell in it again, but it's got Jake Busey as the Hitcher in this one.
Oh, okay.
It's not really supposed to be connected to the first one, but it is kind of, because you've got C. Thomas Howell playing the same character. It's kind of been shoehorned in.
Oh, okay.
It was obviously a film that was meant to be another film that was a little bit like The Hitcher, and the studio was like, just shove this in.
Well,
and there was a remake.
Oh yeah, with Sean Bean in
Platinum Dunes, was it? A Platinum Dunes one?
Was there
Sean Bean? Yeah, it was all right. It was okay. That was shot fairly well.
I'm
kind
of tempted to see it.
I watched it at the cinema.
I did.
It's okay. It's not amazing. It's all right.
Spoilers for the remake one, but I haven't seen it either. But the only thing I did know is that in that film, it's a role reversal. Instead of the girl being tied to
I think I've only seen the Hitcher remake once.
Oh right, okay.
And that was at the cinema in 2006 was that or something.
But I can imagine with the Hitcher 2, probably in the same vein as like Jaws 2 and Psycho 2, whatever. That it's clearly a sequel that doesn't have the auteur craftsmanship as the original.
It was just a cash in. It was just thrown together.
Yeah. Just using the property. I'm assuming by the same studio, by HBO perhaps.
I really don't know. I didn't research it. Sorry, I probably should have researched that for you.
I had my little funny kind of observation that I thought. Not just obviously the fact that Rutger Hauer manages to spontaneously appear everywhere.
It does that in real life, though.
Yeah, just sort of supernaturally kind of thing. Is that Jennifer Jason Leigh, whose character name is Nash, the one thing I thought was, imagine the nightmare bus journey to get to work every day. She's like,
did she drive? Yeah, because she didn't drive.
No, she didn't drive anywhere. Yeah. She just if the first thing is, if someone told me your only job option would be to work in a diner in the middle of nowhere, my first question would be, how the hell do I get there?
Where's the cyanide?
But I would be trying to invest in a car or something, or maybe we just turn the job down in favor of something else that was a bit more accessible.
But what if she needed that job to buy the car to get to the job?
Yeah, exactly. It's all catch-22 sort of thing. But yeah, she was sort of on that. Yeah, that's how we're first introduced to her character, is the fact that this sort of Greyhound type bus pulls in, and yeah, she just sort of gets off it and then opens up shop, literally. The one thing I was annoyed with, though, was the fact that how ungrateful he was in terms of that burger. That was a really nice gesture. I'd have been
like, he was just like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, just like, whatever sort of thing. No, it was like I wasn't even necessarily that hungry watching the film, but even I was thinking, could I really do with a cheeseburger and chunky chips like that?
Yeah, but with that.
Are we like the clumps?
So
the northern clumps.
Out of 10. Or are we doing out of 5?
No, we do 10 VHSs, don't we?
10 VHSs. Are we doing out of 10s now?
Yeah.
We've done 1 or 2 where it was out of 5.
No, because out of 5 is a bit too difficult. Because
how many VHSs out of 10 for the Hitcher?
I like the way you did the sarcastic head bubble. You're the one who created this system.
How many VHS out of 10 are you going to give this?
I would give it a 9 out of 10. Only on the basis, maybe an 8. No, I won't give it 8. I'll give it a 9. I'll give it a 9 because I think it's really amazing cinematic, and you can't fault it. But it does fall a little bit in the way of the script by the time we get to the third act. Mm-hmm. It does change tonally in a sort of a weird way. It goes from being a very intimate cat and mouse.
It turns into more of a proper horror film, doesn't it?
Well, it goes from being like a cat and mouse thing to then this massive sort of car chase, and unsurprisingly, the stunt people involved in that were also responsible for Smokey and the Bandit.
That's
it's unsurprising, and the Blues Brothers as well. With all the chase scenes.
I would probably give it a 9 out of 10 as well.
Yeah,
just for the cinematography, to be fair.
Yeah.
And Rutger Hauer's, a pleasure to watch and everything.
He really carries the film, sort of thing. I would definitely say.
Have you ever seen this? This probably should be a film that we'll cover maybe not next week because we don't want to do 2 Rutger Hauer films in a row.
No,
but I reckon we should cover Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, I remember it being really good.
Is he a martial arts person who's blind or something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, definitely want to see that. We'll give that a good watch.
We'll add that in a couple of weeks.
Whatever the opposite of a wide berth is, a close
a close berth. Anyway, that was our feature film presentation of the week.